Hi, good evening, everyone. And with me is Dr. Karthik Agrawal, and he's Common Merit List first and All India Merit List first in the INISS April 23. Congratulations, Dr. Karthik, and welcome to Dr. Tutorials again. I've been interacting with you in past as well in the interviews and our group sessions, but it's pleasure to have you and host you for your grand success. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, sir, for your efforts too. That actually helped me a lot, especially for the interview part, and like the mock
Welcome.
interview
So,
and the WhatsApp chats that we used to have. So that was very helpful, sir.
thank you, Karthik. Of course, the strategy that we use is to prepare you right from the undergrads days. That's how the doctor tutorials has now been looking at. And of course, during PG and the other preparations, also how the focus is about cardiology is something that is what we are going to discuss with Dr. Karthik. So, Dr. Karthik, how did you start preparing for the undergraduation at the post graduation level for the DM entrance? Were you planning and reading only Harrison, or did Brunwald enter in your second and third year, or was it very limited amount of Brunwald exposure, or how was your preparation strategy? Were you clear right from day one that you were going to pursue cardiology, or it was something that you decided during the course of your post graduation?
No, sir. Actually, it was kind of a quite tough decision that I had to take. Which branch I had to pursue as my career. So at the end of my second year, I was able to decide that I have to pursue cardiology as my career only. So during that time, like for the first 2 years, I was just reading a little bit about of medicine and by continuing my the medicine postings in the wards and the OPDs only. And as we all know that I belong from the AIMS Delhi, so that is the institute that is actually known for the extensive academics. So that part actually we were not lacking in that particular part. So we had been taught too much of medicine in our daily classes also. So we were just doing all these things until the end of my second year, and I was trying to decide that which branch I have to pursue as my career. So initially, I was interested in the gastroenterology, but at the end of my second year, and during my gastroenterology posting and the emergency medicine posting, so I came to decision that I won't be able to pursue gastroenterology as my career. So I decided that I have to go for cardiology. So after the completion of my second year and the beginning of the final year, that I started preparing, particularly the oriented strategically preparation for the this INISS exam at the end of my MD. So like this, still my MD is continuing. That would be completing in the upcoming month. So how I prepared for this particular exam is that initially I was just reading little bit about of cardiology from the Harrison from our daily classes that we had been taught in our institute only. And apart from that, actually, I had read the new edition of Harrison, especially the cardiology part of the Harrison. And
Yes.
apart from that, I had also read Brownwell. So in the Brownwell, actually, I was very specific. I hadn't read like Brownwell from cover to cover, but the specific topics I was advised to read from my seniors. But I was very thorough about those topics from the Brownwell. So
Right.
I started my Brownwell from from the beginning of third year, and I was able to complete my Brownwell in like 3 to 4 months, and I was a little confident that I would be able to revise those particular topics in three upcoming 3 4 months before the exam.
Absolutely. I always tell this to all students who are preparing for DM that it's not hard work, but it's smart work with hard work that matters. And I think in you were supposed to read whole of Brunwald when you're doing DM. I think what you did was a smart Brunwald reading, which is like selective important topics according to the weightage that we define as to like certain topics, like for example, clinical examination. That's so important that it's usually everybody, even if you're getting a short case of say mitral stenosis in your MD medicine exam, you would be preparing it from Brunwald's clinical examination rather than from Harrison. Correct? So, I mean, I think you must have focused upon important high yield topics like the clinical exam, like ischemic heart disease, like certain topics in arrhythmias, like cardiac tumor. So, these are the topics that we predefine our important high yield topics that you need to do, and probably the rest of the topics which you think are not so high yield but important, you go through their diagram table flow charts of Brunwald. Correct? Is that the strategy that you adopted?
Right, sir.
Right. So we are, you were part of that WhatsApp group that we have also as a para learning, as I call in Doctor Tutorial. So we have a WhatsApp group created for all the subscriber and the bright students, and then we play along and group put questions into the group. So how much was the benefit of that kind of a learning? Cultivating cardiology learning as a part of your WhatsApp or social media life as well. Was that supportive or reminding you of studies, or social media distractions? Because we hear a lot of times that every time some of the students would get distracted by social media, they will see a message pop up in the cardiology group and they will be remotivated to go back and study. So how was that WhatsApp kind of a learning that we were doing on Dr.
That
Tutorial?
was actually helpful for the preparation, sir. But apart from that WhatsApp group, the another important thing and that I would like to highlight is that the you only, sir, the person that once the first time when I met you, like in the mock interview, sir, then I realized that you were the person that like that you were the person who was just one message away to solve any queries, sir. So the personal
Thank you.
chat that actually we had on the WhatsApp just before the interview for my special queries, sir, that actually had been load, sir. Like that gave me confidence that this like the legend of cardiology is just a single message away from me. So and you replied each of my queries like within minutes.
No, it's
So
always a pleasure. Legend is something that I'm humbled upon to be called. But yeah, I mean, it's always a pleasure to teach because teach is a passion. That's the passion that I drive, that drives me to run along and teach students. And I'm so happy that I had a chance to mentor somebody as bright as you, Karthik. Uh, you that reminded me of the mock interviews now. So how helpful were the mock interviews? Were the mock interviews exactly in the session that we do? Being a faculty myself, I know how I interview my students, but I remember that how I interview them for a DM exit exam is very different from how I interview somebody who I'm taking for a pre entrance into the DM. So how was the mock interview session that we designed so very specifically? This is something that is unique to us, that we have all the students join in, and then we do all the students have different set of questions so that everybody goes through a big amount of question bank. And what was the format? Was it similar to what you faced, or it was different in the mock interview versus the real interviews?
right, sir. I would like to say that the better thing about that mock interview is that first important thing is that that actually gave me a little bit of confidence to talk with this like the cardiologist who is practicing for since so long, and I'm just going for the exam of entrance exam of cardiology. And the other important thing that you already highlighted in that mock interview that like there were 4 5 students and from each particular student you had asked 5 6 questions from one particular topic, because the motive of that particular mock interview was to cover too many questions as much as possible. So the difference in the real time interview that was done in the cardiology was like they had asked like just for 4 5 questions, and the consistent question was on the thesis that you already told that the first question would be on the thesis only. So they had asked the question on the thesis from each and every candidate, sir. And apart from that, like at the end of the mock interview, you already told that the question will be definitely simpler than the question that I'm asking from you guys. So definitely that the questions were quite simpler, sir. But they were like little trickier questions on the simple topics, sir. So you had covered most of the topics in the mock interview, sir. So that actually gave a lot of idea about the interview, how it's going to be. So that was
Right.
actually very helpful, sir.
Right. So, how much was the importance given in the entrance? Because we went through the paper this time, I and I. Again, people were crazy about, case-based preparations. Everybody was thinking that probably 50% questions will come long, half a page of long history. Again, it was not there. Last time there were some signals of that may come, but it did not happen, right? I mean, what was the paper like? I mean, it still stick to the old day INI pattern, or they were more clinical questions with a big USMLE kind of a pattern with clinical history and background?
No, sir. No USMLE kind of pattern question. But the one peculiar thing about the AIMS exams, like for the PG entrance exams, and it's like same for the DM entrance exam. So one thing that I was very sure about the AIMS entrance exam, that AMC is such an institute that won't be able to predict the pattern of the exams. So
Absolutely.
that is the beauty of the exam, that they just keep on changing the pattern of the exam like
Absolutely.
every time, sir. So this time also they have changed the pattern. Like this exam was quite on the easier side, sir, and the questions were on the like easier aspects of the cardiology. But few of the
Absolutely.
questions, like out of the 50 questions, 5 to 10 questions were on the difficult aspects that no, most of the students were not aware of. Except those 5 to 10 questions, like 35 to 40 questions were on the easier aspect with the simple questions, sir.
Absolutely. I think most of the people thought that the question cannot be so simple, and they overanalyze the paper and have marked, unfortunately, the options wrong. A lot of you who are going through this video would realize that how silly mistake you made in choosing the option, thinking that it cannot be X, but it was Y. And then the answer just dropped out like that. Am I correct, Karthik? I mean, why people,
Right,
I mean,
sir.
you would have got everything right because you felt it was so, but a lot of people actually, when you came out and might have discussed, might have actually made this mistake, thinking that over analyzing the question, that this cannot be so simple and making a wrong choice. Am I correct? If you
Agreed,
can
sir.
give an
Actually,
example.
yes, this actually I was being taught my senior that in these kind of exam you don't have to overthink. So if you find that the
Absolutely.
answer is straight away, then you have to mark that answer. So
Absolutely.
that was the kind of question they had asked, sir.
Absolutely. And how much is the repeat question? Because everybody runs after the recall, repeat, question banks of the local institutes. But the doc tutorial has got the most extensive Q bank series that we have. We contribute new questions every time we have to prepare papers, grant tests, grant test, elite test series, etc. Did you, Karthik? You had access to grant test series, but a surprising thing is that you probably did not appear, right?
Actually, I couldn't take all those tests at that particular time, sir. But
Okay,
the thing, if we talk about the repeat of the questions, then actually there are two parts in the complete exam. One is for the medicine part, and another 50 questions from the cardiology domain. So if we talk about the repeat, then definitely in the medicine aspect, there were too many repeats, sir. Like out of
absolutely,
30 questions, there were 10 to 15 repeats. But the thing is that out of the cardiology question, the thing is that there were the topics that were repeating, but the questions were like direct repeats were not too much, sir.
absolutely. Yeah, so like the questions on diastolic, I mean, the preserved ejection fraction, etiology of certain disorders, therapies, the novel therapies, the new drugs. Like previously, everybody was expecting SGLT2. They came up with semaglutide this time. So things were likely, you know that this
Yes,
is
sir.
the happening thing in cardiology in practice. And they
Yes, sir.
choose from the happening area, but it will not be a repeat question. So I remember last year there was a question on SGLT2. This time they chose on GLP-1 analog in CV outcomes, semaglutide. So I think the questions were twisted in that format to a huge extent. A lot of questions were also like common drugs that are contraindicated in pregnancy. Again, that was a repeat question, but again, that question had different options. This time, the options were not the same as compared to they put up the novel antiarrhythmic drugs as the option. The repeat aspect was that this time they had included newer options rather than repeating the options that have been there for so many years. I mean, this question of drugs contraindicated in pregnancy is like every alternate year that you'll get in an INI, and this time the options were changed. So, I mean, though the topic remains the same, but the options do change. So, you're very much right, Karthik. So, what's your take-home message for the students who are right now in final year and preparing for cardiology? INI say April 24. And what's your overall impact that you feel with doc tutorials or me as a faculty that you had for preparation? So two
Sir,
messages we
actually,
take.
actually, what I want to say that the first important thing is that first we have to decide which branch we have to pursue. So once we are very sure that we have to go for cardiology, then the only thing that remains is that the hard work, and you have to hit hard, sir. So what I want to say that it's around a time period of around 8 to 10 months, or I can say 7 to 8 months is pretty enough for this particular exam. So if you are if you are preparing dedicatedly, so like what I did that I started reading my Brown World, so I was able to complete like 2 to 3 readings of Brown World in route. 3 to 4 months. But I was very selective about the topic that I have to read from the Brown world. And apart from that, I also had my handwritten notes that I used to revise. So then the only thing left is that you have to revise that particular topics from the Brown world, and also you have to be very thorough about your handwritten notes. So that is the only thing, that is the prime source of your knowledge that you are going to use for that particular exam. And apart from that, few little things that actually help, and the mentorship and the little bit guidance that you got from the coaching institutes. And the important thing that I can remember, that the personal interaction that I had with you, sir. Like
My
few
pleasure.
questions that I had asked even before before my interview, sir, like the guidelines for the hypertension. So all these things that actually helps a lot. Specifically, if the teacher that you can find that he just a message away from you. So that is actually the thing that actually give you a very confidence that you can talk to them, you can reach to them as and when required. So that was the
Thank
very
you.
fascinating thing that actually I found in that dog tutorial.
Thank you, Karthik, for kind words. And I wish you all the best. Thank you for sparing time with us. And I hope to stay connected with you. And I'll always be a message away, even beyond the doc tutorials training that we had or interaction that we had with you. And you can always contact me all for your career and for whatever way I can help you. My number will stay with you, and you can always connect with me personally as well. So
Thank
congratulations,
you,
Dr.
thank you so much,
Agarwal. You
sir.
must be celebrating. There must be party time at home. घर
Yes,
पहुंचे या you're still at Delhi Aims?
I'm still in my hostel only, sir.
So have a good break and enjoy and celebrate your success. Nothing succeeds like success, and Common Merit List 1 and all AIMS Merit List 1 is something really pretty good and fantastic to celebrate about. Congratulations from Team Doc Tutorials, and best wishes, and stay connected for all the further inputs and update everyone. We'll be having other successful candidates across, interviewing you and getting you the tips as to how to prepare for entrance like INISS. Good night, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Karthik Agrawal. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.